Welcome to Short Movie Channel. The movie begins with a young man named Kyle running. He arrives at his house and jumps into the swimming pool. But as soon as he does, he starts remembering the terrible accident that happened to him and two of his friends 6 months ago. Kyle drifts underwater, clearly struggling with psychological trauma. Meanwhile, a beautiful girl named Mia wakes up and takes her medication. Then she goes to wake up the children living with her in the orphanage where she stays. After that, Mia heads to the top of a mountain and starts taking pictures of the natural scenery around her. At the same time, Kyle is alone in his room, surrounded by his drawings, looking deeply sad. His artwork reflects the depression he's going through. We learn that Kyle has been isolating himself in his room, not seeing anyone since the accident. Then Kyle receives a voice message from his friend who was in the accident with him. His name is George. George tells Kyle that he wants to see him since Kyle hasn't visited him at all since he got out of the hospital. So Kyle decides to go visit George at his house. But once he gets in his car, he finds himself unable to drive, so he gets out and walks instead. When he arrives at George's house, we find out that George can't move at all due to the injuries he suffered in the accident. We also learn that Kyle feels guilty and blames himself for the accident, believing he's the reason their third friend, Noah, died and George ended up badly injured. George tries to convince Kyle to let go of that guilt because none of them actually remember what happened that day. Before Kyle can respond, George's mom comes in and tells them that the doctor is coming to check on George. So Kyle says goodbye to his friend and leaves the room. George's mom then speaks with Kyle privately. She tells him the doctor said George will never walk again, but she hasn't told George yet and doesn't know how to break the news to him. She also says she can't understand how Kyle, who was in the same car, came out completely unharmed, not even a scratch. Her words hit Kyle hard, and he falls into despair. He decides to end his life. He goes to the top of a mountain, ready to jump. But Mia sees him through her camera and yells out loud, pretending to faint. Hearing her voice, Kyle runs over to help her, only to realize that Mia faked the whole thing to stop him from jumping. She tells him that if he insists on jumping, she'll jump too. Then she runs toward the edge, but Kyle catches her just in time and stops her. She manages to prevent him from taking his life. Mia takes his phone, saves her number on it, and introduces herself. She tells him she'll keep in touch. Later, Mia returns to the orphanage, goes to her room, turns on her computer, and reads a news article about the accident involving Kyle and his friends. That's when we learn that Noah, who died in the accident, was actually Mia's boyfriend. Mia calls one of her old friends from the orphanage and asks if she still remembers how to pretend to be her mom like they used to do. The next day, Kyle wakes up to find Mia at his house. She introduces herself to his parents as his girlfriend. Then Mia's friend, pretending to be her mom, calls Kyle's mom and tells her she wants Kyle to come with Mia and stay at her place in Spain for a few days. Kyle's mom is thrilled. She sees it as a great chance for Kyle to get out, change the environment, and maybe recover from his depression. Kyle is shocked but also slightly hopeful. Mia is happy that her plan worked. Kyle pulls Mia aside to talk. It's clear he's not okay with what she did and refuses to travel with her. But Mia explains that she did it for his own good and asks him to think it over and give her an answer in 2 days. At night, his father tells him that he thinks traveling to Spain will be good for him. He gives him his passport and visa card and asks him to go, enjoy life, and leave behind all the sadness that might cause him to lose himself forever. At the same time, Mia is at the orphanage, talking to a little girl named Becca. It turns out Becca is the only one who knows that Mia is planning to travel to Spain to look for her real mother. Mia makes Becca promise to keep it a secret between them. While they're talking, Kyle is printing Mia's passport photo to finalize her travel arrangements. The next day, Kyle is on the plane with Mia, and she's really happy about everything that's happening. She keeps talking to Kyle, telling him she's dreamed about this trip for so long. But Kyle doesn't reply. He puts on his headphones, listens to music, and falls asleep. As soon as they land in Spain, Kyle is surprised to find that Mia has rented a small van equipped for living in. They make peace, and Mia asks him to drive because she doesn't know how. Kyle drives slowly, but he's clearly nervous and afraid. Mia jokes with him, saying if they keep going this slow, they'll spend the whole trip on the road. But Kyle doesn't reply, he just focuses on driving. Mia keeps trying to talk to him, but he stays quiet until she tells him she's hungry and wants to eat. She mentions a nice restaurant along the way and asks him to stop there. Kyle is hesitant and afraid to pull over on the highway. Then Mia grabs the steering wheel and turns toward the restaurant. Kyle freaks out, yells at her, and tells her not to do that again. He eventually stops in front of the restaurant. Mia apologizes and goes inside to get some food. A little while later, Kyle walks in and finds Mia celebrating her birthday alone and crying. He feels bad, leaves, and goes back to the van. Later, Mia gets back in the van, and they continue their journey. It seems that Kyle started to sympathize with Mia after seeing her cry, so he opens up and asks why she chose to travel to Spain. Mia tells him that she's searching for her mother, who left her in an orphanage when she was a child. She explains that her mother is originally from Spain and that she's spent the past 2 years looking for any clue about her. Eventually, she narrowed it down to 10 women living in different parts of Spain, one of whom might be her real mother. That night, Kyle and Mia stop at a roadside motel to spend the night and continue the trip the next day. The next morning, Mia wakes up and takes her medicine. She gets scared when she realizes Kyle is gone. She thinks he left her. But she relaxes when she sees him coming back with breakfast. They get back on the road, and at one point, Mia spills chocolate drink on her clothes. Kyle buys her a new outfit and says it's a birthday gift. Mia thanks him, and they get back in the van together. They visit the first woman on Mia's list, but she turns out not to be her mother. Then they continue visiting the next women. Mia meets 5 of them, and none of them are her mother. She feels really disappointed, but Kyle invites her to lunch to lift her spirits. He reminds her they still have 5 more names to check, and one of them could definitely be her mom. Kyle notices that Mia takes medication before eating, so he asks her if she has any health issues. She tells him it's just vitamins. After they finish eating, the waiter brings the check. Mia wants to pay, but Kyle stops her and insists on covering the bill. Suddenly, Mia's journal falls out, and Kyle sees a photo of Mia with her boyfriend Noah, the one who died in the accident. Kyle is shocked and walks away. Mia follows him and explains that when she saved his life, she didn't know that Noah was his friend. She says she wanted to bring him on this trip to help him heal from his pain the way she's been trying to heal from losing someone she loved. Kyle is moved by her words. He gets back in the van and they continue their journey. But then, Kyle is surprised when a traffic officer pulls him over and tells him to speed up because he's slowing down traffic. Mia laughs so hard and says it's the first time she's ever seen the police ask someone to go faster. After that, they head to the beach and spend a beautiful time together. At night, they enjoy the sea breeze, the sky, and the stars together. While they're talking, Mia suddenly loses consciousness. Kyle quickly rushes her to the hospital. There, the doctor tells Kyle that fainting is normal for Mia because of her unstable condition. They're relieved to hear she's doing better and will be discharged soon. But Kyle doesn't fully understand what the doctor meant. So he asks Mia about her condition. She tells him that she suffers from a weak heart muscle and that the pills she had been taking weren't vitamins like she said before. Kyle tells her that he'll always be by her side. They continue their journey to find Mia's mother, visiting many cities together. They manage to find 4 out of the remaining 5 women on the list, but none of them turn out to be her mother. Eventually, they get to the last woman on Mia's list. Mia is shocked when she realizes that this woman isn't her mother either. She asks Kyle if she can be alone for a while. But when she doesn't come back, Kyle gets worried and starts searching for her. He finally finds her sitting alone. He takes her with him, and they check into a luxury hotel. That night, they have dinner together. Kyle asks if there's anything she wants before they return to the US. But she surprises him by saying she's not going back to America until she finds her mother. He gets frustrated and asks why she's so determined to keep looking. He tells her that her mom abandoned her years ago and insists she has to undergo surgery as soon as possible, or she'll die. He leaves angrily. Mia runs after him, apologizes, and begs him to give her just 3 more days. Then she promises she'll do the surgery. The next day, Kyle tells Mia he found a mistake in her mother's last name on the documents. He says he managed to track down the correct name and found a woman living in a nearby village. Mia is thrilled, and they head to the woman's address. But on the way, Mia passes out again. Kyle rushes her to the hospital. This time, the doctor tells him that Mia's heart is in very bad shape and she needs emergency surgery. The doctor begs Kyle to convince her because Mia is scared and refusing the operation. Kyle sits with Mia and pleads with her to go through with the surgery. She insists she won't do it until she meets her mother. Kyle gets upset and walks away. Outside the hospital, Kyle stands there feeling lost. Suddenly, an ambulance pulls up with injured passengers inside. Seeing it brings back memories of the accident. He remembers that George was drunk that day and was showing him something on his phone while driving. George was the one who distracted Kyle. Kyle confronts George and tells him he remembers everything now. George apologizes and begs for forgiveness, admitting he couldn't bring himself to tell the truth and that he caused the accident and the death of their friend. Kyle forgives him and tells him to let the past go. Feeling relieved, Kyle returns to Mia and tells her how much he loves her and that he can't live without her. He agrees to help her find her mother but asks her to promise that she'll do the surgery afterward. She promises. So Kyle sneaks her out of the hospital without anyone noticing. They go to the woman's house. Mia walks up to the door and knocks. The woman answers, and the moment she sees Mia, she recognizes her from the necklace she's wearing. She bursts into tears and hugs her tightly. Mia goes inside with her mom, and they talk for a long time. Later that night, Kyle takes Mia to a beautiful spot. He plays her favorite song, and they dance together. Suddenly, Mia gets weak. Kyle grabs her and rushes her to the hospital. She's taken straight into surgery, and Kyle waits outside crying. After a few days, Kyle is back in the US, at home with his parents before heading off for his scholarship trip. As he leaves the house, he walks toward a truck like the one they had in Spain. Meanwhile, we learn that the surgery was successful, and Mia's heart is now in good condition. She's behind the wheel, driving with Kyle by her side, ready to live the rest of their lives together. And that's the end of the movie. If you liked the film, give us a thumbs up and let us know your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel.